All right, Thursday, May 8th. This is the Lion Channel. I'm John. Some crazy things happening. First, it's tough to kind of I want to make sure I get the most out of this in terms of portraying what just happened, what's happened over the last 24 hours since I made the last video, and I guess why these things are happening. So first, earlier today, I just had a thought pop into my mind because I've been repeatedly saying that it's been 4 or 5 weeks since I was in depression, since I found a video talking about the law of assumption and then started applying, using the law of assumption. So I got an inspiration to just go look back because I was curious to see when the day was. And the day that I watched that first video by Brendan Woods was April 3rd. Okay, so it's basically been 5 weeks, all right, since I was in that deep depression where I was having thoughts of leaving the world. All right, so I want you to remember that day, okay? Because I was just outside. It's a beautiful day out, gorgeous. My favorite sky with the blue sky and the white puffy clouds. Birds are singing. It's just couldn't be more perfect. There's a slight breeze. Temperature I think is about 75. So it's like when the sun comes out, it gives you that nice warmth, and then it goes behind the clouds, and you can feel the breeze again. So these are my favorite days. And so I'm outside. The dog is his name's Falcor, by the way, from the movie Never Ending Story, if you've ever seen it. He's enjoying the grass, and we're just relaxing. And out of my peripheral, now, before I say anything or move further, okay, we live in a nice, quiet neighborhood, okay? A bunch of single homes. The road that we live on is somewhat busy, okay? Cars can drive probably 35 to 40 miles an hour on this road. Okay, so it's kind of a main road, but you don't get a ton of traffic. Okay, so I'm outside, I'm on the lawn, walking the dog, and out of my peripheral, I hear somebody saying, cursing, okay, expletive, F-U, Sadie. I thought they were saying Sadie, okay, and screaming at the top of their lungs. Walking down the street, the last thing you would expect on a street and a neighborhood like this. So I turn and look, and it's a guy like me, bald head, walking down the street. He's got jeans and a t-shirt on, and he continues walking. Now he's basically right in front of me, but I'm back on the lawn. And he's facing this direction. So unless he looks my way, he's not going to see me. And he's kind of trapped in his anger, whatever he's screaming at, which I thought was Sadie. But as he continues to scream it, what he's saying is F-U, Satan. F-U, Satan. And he's walking on the side of the road, and now he's past me. And the dog, he got the dog's attention, Falcor's attention real quick. Falcor, was doing his thing, and then all of a sudden stopped and just sat, and he's watching. And so the guy is just over and over again, F-U, Satan, F-U, Satan. To the point where there's cars coming, and he's walking in the middle of the street. As I said, these cars are coming pretty fast, and now he's out of view. And he's getting into confrontations with people, I guess, who are starting to say things to him. And I hear him, screaming expletives. Now he's out of sight. He's behind bushes. So I'm out of his experience. But so whatever happens with him moving forward, which I'm sure is probably not going to end up well for him, or, maybe whoever he sees in his experience, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, what? Because I could have walked the dog 10 minutes earlier and not seen this guy, or 10 minutes later and not seen this guy. But I walked out at the exact perfect time to get the whole scene in my experience. Okay? So as I've said before, I was applying the Abraham teachings with have to do with the law of attraction. And so previously, if this would have come into my experience, I would be thinking to myself for the rest of the day, how did I attract this? How did I attract this? I'm doing everything. I'm feeling good. I'm making videos. I'm, talking about my manifestations and stuff. And what is this doing in my experience? And this would be something that could possibly knock me off the rails, and that I would take into maybe even falling asleep. Regardless of how many good things happen for the rest of the day, I'd be thinking to myself, where did that guy come from? Like, what's going on? What do I have to clean up? Okay. But instead, my first thought to myself was, okay, this is just a simulation. All right. This is information right now in my experience, because I have or had something within me where I've created this. So I created this when I talked about, like, this is the projector and your world is the projection, right? Your 3D experience, everything you see in front of you is just kind of like regurgitated, or it's a movie that you already made, whether it was a month ago or 6 months ago or whatever. Those things are, no matter how great your life is, it's important to, I guess, really hang on to that and understand that those things they're going to come up, but it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means that that's old frequency or old vibration from the old person that you used to be. And so as I thought about this and as I looked at it, and I was like, let me take this as information. What information do I need to gain here, if any? What do I need to see? And on April 3rd, the date that I asked you to remember from earlier, that day, I was alone in the house, and this is how deep my depression was, okay? It was really dark. I was screaming at the top of my lungs, but I was inside my house. I was screaming at nobody, but I was screaming exactly like he was, and I was saying, F you, universe, giving it like, those kinds of things, and just so emotional and passionate and just fed up, like veins popping out of my head. Okay. So, and then that night is where I was at that hopeless point, and I guess maybe because I did that, it opened me up, because I was done. I was just like, I'm done. Nothing works, and I'm just done with this. I'm done with being here. I don't want to be here anymore. That's what I kept saying. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. That's it. I'm done. I'm tapping out. Like, get me out of here. And then I found that video, which I will post below. I feel like I should share that video, because that's the video, and the title actually says, I forget what it says, but I'll post it. I'll link it underneath in case you're curious. But yeah, so then the following day is when I did that exercise that I talked about a day or two ago, where I just closed my eyes for 5 or 10 minutes and just watched my thoughts. And 90% of my thoughts were just like the worst thoughts that you could think: fear, doubt, worry, insecurity, like any negative anger, any negative emotion you could think of. That's what my inner dialogue was. So it was like, okay, this guy's got my attention because he's saying my inner dialogue creates my world. And even though my world, technically, like, if somebody else was looking at my world, they'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you so depressed? Look at all the things that you have. But that's the whole thing. I wasn't looking at any of the things that I had. I wasn't being grateful for anything. I was just looking at all the things that I wasn't. And so when you're looking at all the things you don't have and you're looking at all your problems, and that's where your focus is, of course, your inner dialogue is not going to be good. And so I was taking that, the most important thing, it doesn't even matter what that inner dialogue was during the day. I was taking it into SATS, which is, I forget what that stands for, akin to sleep, but it's falling into your sleep state, and that's what I was impressing the subconscious with. And so that's what was creating my world. And it was just giving me more and more of things I didn't want. Okay? But this experience that just happened, that where I talked about, maybe also a video or two ago, what you react to, you're recreating. So what I did on April 3rd, and I put that much emotion into screaming at the universe, saying, F you, universe, of course, I was recreating something that was going to happen in my experience, where I just got to watch the movie reel play out, but I didn't react to it. Things could have happened a lot differently if I say something to this guy and I don't realize what's happening, and I try and play, try and do something or say something to him. Like, I might not be making this video right now. So this stuff is like, when you start looking at things this way, like it is like that, for that to happen is not a coincidence. Okay, this is how things work. And I'm going to give you 2 more examples that that happened yesterday. And I know we're at 13 minutes. I want to keep these videos short, but before I make a YouTube video, okay, and David mentioned this in one of his videos, okay, when he was at 100 subscribers, before he would make a YouTube video, he would close his eyes and picture 35,000 subscribers, okay? So that's what I've started doing. I've also started doing that with other accounts, where I'm just picturing $35,000 in the accounts, okay? So yesterday, just watching my video back on my phone, and I hadn't looked at the time, I hadn't looked at my battery charge, I hadn't looked at anything. I was engaged in the video, and it was like something tapped me on the shoulder and say, hey, look, check out the time. And I looked at the time, and it was 7:35. And it tapped me on the shoulder again and said, hey, look at your battery life. And my battery life was 35. And it tapped me on the shoulder again and said, hey, look at how many subscribers you had. And I had 335 subscribers. Okay, so I'm sitting here and focused on that number, 35,000. And what do I see? 35, 35, 35. Now this has been like a week and a half that I've been doing this. All right, so it seems like it's having time to establish itself, and then eventually I'm going to see the 35,000 subscribers and then also the 35,000 in my accounts. Now I'm starting small. You know, once I've reached the 35,000 or close to it, I'll probably bump it up. But so that was trippy. And then the last thing, I wore this here. All right, as I said, I've been like kind of like inspired to start taking care of myself a little bit more. I care more about my presentation, and I used to wear these all the time. Now these are armbands from lifting weights, and I used to wear them when I trained. The P stands for Greg Plitt. Rest in peace. He was a great motivational speaker and one of my favorite people to watch on YouTube. But I didn't know where they are, and like I said, we moved a year and a half ago, and I think I threw a bunch of them out because I was in a different state of mind. I used to have a bunch of them, and the other day I was like, let me see if I have any of these laying around. Like now I have two, and I just thought about it, and then I forgot about it, and then I was in my closet, and I have this memory box that I haven't looked at or in since we moved here. And just like I got the tap on the shoulder to look at the clock, I got the tap on the shoulder to look in the memory box for one of these. And I had one in there. Yeah, so I had one, all right? And then yesterday, I'm putting clothes away. And I have a shelf with t-shirts on it. I've been on that shelf for a year and a half, putting clothes away, okay? Even yesterday, I have some shirts that I hang up, and I put them on a different shelf in the closet, and the shelf that I had the shirts on that I wanted to hang up were on the other side of my t-shirt stuff. So my t-shirt shelf is in the middle. I have another shelf on the side where I'm laying the shirts to hang up, and then I'm hanging the shirts up over here. So I'm 4 or 5 times I'm walking by the t-shirt shelf, okay? Now this is important because as I pick up the last shirt, a t-shirt, to put on my t-shirt shelf, this armband is just laying on the side of the shelf, like somebody just dropped it there for me so I would see it. I immediately picked it up. I went downstairs. I asked my wife, I asked my daughter, I said, are you guys playing with me? Did you just drop this armband there? They said no. So, I don't know what to say about that, okay? I did want to talk about some other stuff in this video, but we're at 18 minutes. So maybe I'll make another video today. Odds are I'll just make another one tomorrow. But I got a couple new subscribers. Okay, welcome. I've been getting more views on these videos, and that's really cool because it's a really fun experience for me. I just started. This is what Elmer David said was, I'll share his link, by the way. Elmer Locker Jr. But he said, he's like, just start making videos and be non-negotiable and just make videos every day. And, you know, just see where it takes you. And so that's what I did. And today's day 7. And, you know, it's really fun for me. It's fun for me being able to share these experiences. And it's also fun knowing that, you know, even if 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, whoever sees these videos, I mean, it's proof, okay, that this stuff works. Because let's just go right back to that guy who was walking down the street saying F Satan. That was me on April 3rd. I was just inside my house, but I was in the same mindset. Could you see that guy making these videos or this video in June, next month? Could you see him making a video on June 13th? There's no way, okay? But I am, all right? And it's all because of what I'm talking about here, all right? So I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. See you. Bye.